We're back to you again with another video from Echo Wisdom Voices. We got my friend Alpha here. He's a great guy. He gave me a lot of inspiration on my road to recovery, and we're just gonna kind of give him an interview and see kind of what, like, a microscope into his life. So I hope you guys like it. And yeah, so I was just wondering, like your life story, man. Like what kind of got you here?
Oh, what got me here? Oh man, okay. Yeah, it was a lot. It was quite a journey, but it was very rewarding. You know, I want to say that I'm blessed and happy to be here today, and happy for you. And this is just a great opportunity to come here on your show, man. I love it. But what got me here? You know, I always kind of felt out of place as a young kid, as a child. Just never felt like I fit in. Came from a kind of interesting background. You know, it was me and my mom, just single parent, so it was kind of tough, but she kind of gave me everything. She was always there for me, but even with all that, I still kind of felt out of place. And you know, had a pretty typical upbringing. You know, grew up in Northern Virginia, and you know, played sports, hung out with friends, did all that usual stuff, but I always kind of didn't want to be who I was. Didn't want to, you know, be in my own skin. I like play acting and stuff like that, and I always kind of imagined myself being someone else.
Yeah.
So, you know, as I kind of got a little older, you know, got in high school, experimented a little bit with alcohol, drugs here and there, but it was never anything big. You know, I just did it on the weekends here and there. You know, take a hit of some weed here, have a couple of beers here, sometimes get too drunk. Actually, the first time I actually drank, I got too drunk and I ended up puking all over my buddy's house. But and then on the lawn, the church lawn, the next day at church service. So that wasn't pleasant. So it didn't really start well. But you know, I liked the feeling. I liked getting away from myself. I liked that it didn't make me think about, like, be in my head for a period of time. I liked how it made me feel. I like how it made me feel when I was dancing and stuff like that. So you know, I kind of attached myself to that feeling. You know, it was always kind of more than the substance. It was more so that feeling I got of not being myself.
And would you say that the alcohol and the drugs kind of like gave you that mask to be able to feel how you want to feel or act how you want to act?
Oh yeah, most def. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it definitely like put a mask over there, and I already am pretty good at like pretending to be other people and play acting and doing all that stuff. So it just amplified that. You know, it allowed me to kind of hide in plain sight and not have to think about, like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? You know, it kind of just wiped that part out. And, you know, that's kind of just how it went for a long time. You know, I drank myself out of college. That's when it really took off. You know, being in an atmosphere like a big college town, you know, it kind of allows you to be like, oh, like, this is normal. Like, everybody drinks like this, so I can.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it allowed me to continue to kind of play that role and kind of do those things. And like I said, I already was using at a point where it was like, none of this is like to enjoy. Like, this is just to get away and get out of that headspace. And, you know, got left at college, and I just kind of kept that party going. You know, I never really turned that off. But, you know, I always kind of knew I was an addict. Like, I had an addictive personality even as a young kid.
And at what point during your drug use or your alcohol use did you kind of realize, like, all right, like, this is becoming a problem, this is damaging for my life, and it was no longer something that you really, I guess you knew it wasn't best for you to use?
True. I knew it was a problem off the jump. Like, right away. Like, I mean, if you puke on your front, I mean, I puked on the front lawn of the church, so it was kind of a problem already, but it really did in my, like, 20s. Once I got back from college, I got 3 DUIs in 8 months.
Oh, wow.
When I was about 22. Like, 3 of them in 8 months. Like stack. And, like, you know, did some jail time and stuff like that. And everybody, and like, even my lawyer was like, oh, you're like, this is like a problem. Like, he's the same lawyer for each one. And he's like, bro, like, you might want to like get some help. Like, this is kind of a like thing. But my whole reasoning was, you know, I don't know. Like, there is no thinking when I'm using. So like, it was just like, nah, I just got to get through this. And then I can get back to being who I am. Like, that's who I thought I was. I thought I was going to be the drunk guy and the guy who smokes weed all the time. Like, that's who I thought I was. That's who I thought I was, you know, that was the role I was playing. Definitely. So, yeah, no, it was a problem early on. Like, it was pretty bad. Like, you know, a lot of jail time, just, you know, being in and out, having to deal with the institutions. And, you know, it's funny, I like rationalize it where it's like, well, you know, when I drink and drug and drive, I get in trouble. So I'm not going to drive.
Yeah.
And that was my logic. That's how I was like, all right, so I'm not gonna drive. So I just stopped driving. Like, and that was like, it's no problem. You don't have a problem when you're stumbling home. So, that's the way it went. Like, that's how I kind of approached it.
Definitely. And I think a big thing that a lot of people don't really understand is that as addicts, we do find a reason to keep using. We will always find that reason, and we will always find that excuse to make it okay for us to use drugs.
Exactly.
So, what we're saying that you're using these drugs, they're now becoming a problem. It's in your life. What steps did you take, or how many times did it take you to kind of get you to where you are now, sober, in a position where you can help others?
Steps I took. Well, I mean, it took a while. It was about 13 to. Like I said, I always kind of knew I had a problem, but I didn't really address start thinking about trying to get sober until I was in my 30s. My 20s were kind of a blur.
Yeah.
And the steps I kind of took, I did all the kind of weird stuff. Like I moved a lot. I left home and moved down to Florida. A lot of that was self-imposed. My mom was leaving, and I was like, I don't have enough money to move anywhere, so I'm just gonna go with her. So I did some of the geographical stuff. I went overseas for a little bit, and thought like, oh, maybe if I go over here and try to do some work, I can do that. But they got drugs and booze in Africa, so definitely, there's a lot worse over there. So, the booze over there is nasty. But so it kind of followed me as I kind of went through life, and I didn't really start to kind of think about changing it until my early 30s. I kind of was like, I was getting kind of sick of it. I get tired of just going through the whole rat race and stuff like that, and I'd gone through some health stuff. I've had emphysema, and which is what you get when you smoke too many cigarettes, kids. And you get that when you're 70, and I got it when I was in my early 30s. So I was like, well, I can't smoke anymore, so I guess I'll just drink a ton now. That's my logic. So that's where it kind of really took off, and it just got to a point where I was kind of just treading water, I wasn't really moving anywhere. I was just treading water. I kind of found a way to get a job that I that I really liked, but my life was really just get from this point to this point, and then once you get through your day, then you can use again, or if I'm off, I can, I was just going from high to high essentially, and then it was when I was turning 33. One of my volunteers, I told him it was my birthday, and he said, oh, you're in your Jesus year. And I was like, and that shit just hit me like a ton of bricks. That shit hit me hard,
I've
man.
never heard that before.
Yeah, he's in your Jesus year. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, it's what Jesus was. And I was like, whoa. And it hit me really hard, because I was because I love to help people. My whole, I think, purpose and one of my big things in life is being of service to my fellow man, everybody on this planet.
Of course.
It's really important to me. I think that's the thing that gives me the most joy out of everything. So what ended up happening was he said that, and I ended up sitting there, and I really thought about it. I was like, man, I'm gonna I should get sober. I want to try to do more for other people's, and I know my addiction is hampering me from doing that. Yeah. So that was when I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go for one more year, and then my birthday next year after that, I'm gonna get sober. So that was when it kind of hit, and that was when I decided to make that change.
Of course. And then after you made that change, so guys, now Alpha works in a rehab. He works in an area where he can kind of extend his hand and kind of help others. So now that you're in that position and you kind of have experience with helping other people and kind of putting yourself in other people's shoes and stuff like that, what is some advice that you would have to somebody who is still struggling in their addiction, but want to get where you're at, or want to get in any place better than they are now? What are some of the biggest things that you would recommend?
It's a lot of it's the desire. It's that will. You gotta have that willpower to change your life. This is, like I said, we built it up to where it was this is who I am. You have to change that mindset completely. You can't be like, oh, well, I want to be a little sober, but I'm still going to be. No, it's got to be a complete change of who you are. And that's really tough, because, a whole shift of who you are. That's a big
It's a hard
change.
thing. It sure
It's
is.
very difficult. You have to want that, and a lot of that comes from, you know, like the desperation of just like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want this to be a part of my life, like, because this stuff is everywhere, man. No matter where you go, there's gonna be drugs and alcohol everywhere. So having that desperation, having that willpower is, I think, the first start. But then a lot of it is people, places, and things. It is a lot. It is really like not hanging out with the same people, not going to the same places, not being on the corner anymore. You know, not like going I used to hang out at the bar. No, I don't. I don't go to the bar anymore. You know, it's like there's no reason for me to be there. So like changing those things up, and you know, even when I was first, you know, when I was getting sober, like I made a decision to come back up here. And one of the things I did was when I moved back up here, this is my hometown, Alexandria, Virginia. I said I'm not gonna call any of my friends. I'm not gonna let anybody know I'm coming back. I'm not gonna let anybody know I'm coming back. And
Sorry about that.
it's all good. What's up, Matt? That's Matt G. He's doing his thing. Yeah, I didn't want anybody to know I was coming back up because I wanted to really throw myself into like getting sober. Yeah. And you know, it was a good thing for me because I was able to like kind of establish myself in a sober community. You know, and yeah, some friends hit me up. Like if a friend hit me up and he was like, you know, and called and like asked me where I wasn't gonna be like, nah, I'm in Florida. Like, nah, it was like I was honest with them. But that alone helped me cut off a lot of people and things that like weren't good for me, that were parts of my addiction. And you know, it allowed me to be able to make some new sober friends and grow in that community to where like now everything I do is with sober people. Yeah. Like I work in a place where, you know, a recovery center, like all the people I hang out with, for the most part, everybody's sober. Yeah. Like, that's all we do. Like, you know, we go to the movies. Most of the stuff I build my weekend around is around hanging with sober people or doing all that. So, yeah.
And so I guess the biggest thing that I'm personally kind of getting out of this is that the people, places, and things, those things do need to change. Mm-hmm. So you can't just change one thing and expect everything else to follow. You do have to make a major change in your life, and your whole life has to kind of change. It has to be a personality change. Mm-hmm. It has to be a change with the things you do, the people you hang out with, and the places you hang out with. Yeah. So I think that's really good, and I think a lot of people can kind of benefit from that. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciated sitting here and being able to kind of break some of these things down so that this can help some other people. Of course. And hopefully maybe we'll be able to do another collab again and kind of take it to some other places. So
of course, man. I appreciate you, though. Anytime you need me on here, man. Of course. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Jimmy Valvano said that back in it was the old basketball coach, but he said that when he was dealing with cancer. But it goes true for anything. If you're dealing with addiction, don't give up. Don't ever give up. Love life. Enjoy yourself. That's what it's here for. If you feel like there's something hampering you, you can take it on and get rid of it. Like, it's not too big. So love life. Don't give up. Like, that's all I gotta say.
All right, I appreciate it. And thank you guys. We'll let you guys know when our next interview is. We'll give you guys a little bit more time in advance so that you guys can join. And we'll be posting this for all to see. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. We appreciate it.